Okay, guys, welcome back to Rich Artist Fridays. I'm so happy that you guys are joining again or joining me for the first time, maybe. I'm Sophie, and the Rich Artist program is my coaching business that I launched a little while ago because I want to break the stigma of the starving artist. And I know for a lot of people, rich artist is almost like an oxymoron because those are two terms that we don't really associate with one another very often. But that's what I'm here to provide for you guys is I want us to be rich in a sense of abundant, as in abundant in the opportunities that we dream of, abundant in jobs, abundant in financial resources to make the art that we want to make, and to be free in our creativity. And the Rich Artist Fridays are our 30-minute quickies that are always going to be for free for you guys, where we just talk about like any of the topics that I'm currently, researching on or dealing with it within my own business and learning about through my own coaches and my own mentors and people in my own team, and also to discuss topics that might be on your guys' mind and that I get asked a lot about from you guys when it comes to building a photography business. So that's what those are here for. But beyond that, we also have group coachings, we do workshops, and we do one-on-one coachings in order for me to let you guys benefit from the experience that I have made in my own photography career and teach you guys how I built a stable business as a backbone to me, making the art that I want to make in order to draw on the resources that I dream of having, in order to amplify the message that I'm trying to spread with my artistry, and yeah, also just to provide a community for you guys to connect with one another. And because I know that literally every artist I talk to, every photographer I talk to struggles with similar things, especially when it comes to being freelance entrepreneurs. And I also want to talk about the mindset of being a business owner and an entrepreneur alongside being a creative, because that is like the number one thing that I didn't get taught either in college or even through assisting other people. I mean, I learned through observing, but nobody actually ever sat me down and taught me how to do it. So that's what I'm here to do for you guys. And before we move into this Friday's topic, one more big amount announcement. We have the next workshop coming up on October 7th and 8th. It's a 2-day weekend workshop, and it's going to be a money masterclass workshop. So it's going to be 2 hours on the Saturday and 2 hours on a Sunday, because I thought, okay, what's the number one topic I get asked about all the time? And a lot of it is finances and how to set your prices or how to negotiate rates or how to even establish yourself at a certain level of charging with a certain type of clientele. I know that a lot of you guys have so many questions about that. So I wanted to spend like one weekend to sort of put it all in one package and just look at the whole topic, look at it from different perspectives, and just shine a light on how do I negotiate my prices, how do I make my clients understand that it's in their best interest to pay me what I want to get paid, and also like what do I want to get paid. Like if I handed you guys $20,000 tomorrow, I know you would rise to the occasion and like create something amazing with it. So then why so often do a lot of us set our prices according to what we think our clients can afford? That seems like a hamster wheel sort of dilemma for me. So that's what we will be covering, that and much more. There's going to be more information coming on that workshop, but you guys can already sign up. Like I said, it's going to be on October 7th and it's on my Eventbrite already. The link, if you just go on Eventbrite, there's like my profile of the events that are coming up next, or you can just go on my Instagram. It's in my bio on Instagram as well. And yeah, people are already signing up, which I'm so excited for. So let's look at that whole topic together. And yeah, let's make some money. Let's make the money that you guys want to be making. But today we are talking less about money. We're talking about perfectionism. I titled it Perfectionism, Friend or Foe, which I guess was kind of a redundant question because we all know that perfectionism is at most a big hindrance to most of us. I'm like the first one to raise my hand here. I am such an insane perfectionist, especially when it comes to my art. Like I have the most crazy expectations of myself. So I wanted to shine a little bit of light on this. And I know I've talked about perfectionism before, but specifically, I think it was in our summer course that we did. So I wanted to do more of a public, quick little class on this as well. First of all, let's think about what is perfectionism. Like I always say like perfectionism is like a very good disguise for fear. Because why do we need perfectionism? I think it's because it gives us the sense of security of like, if I only do it perfectly enough, I'll be protected from criticism or from rejection or from failure. So it gives us the sense of like, if I can only make it perfect enough, whether it's a post on Instagram or our own work or my website or that email to a client, then I'm somehow protected. And the thing with perfectionism is like, you can make it as perfect as it could possibly be. And there, guess what? There's going to be people that are like, I hate nothing more than perfectionism. Like they're going to look at it and they're going to be like, that's so perfect. I hate it. You know how they say like, you can be the sweetest peach and there's still going to be people that hate peaches, that don't like peaches. So why do we do this to ourselves? And I come across this so much. That's why I wanted to talk about it today, is I see so many of you guys creating insane art, being amazingly talented. And then I go on either, a social media page that you guys have on, or I'm looking for a website, and there isn't even a website there. The amount of times that I've met artists and I'm like, oh, where can I look at your work? And they're like, oh, well, I'm working on a website, but it's not quite ready yet. Guys, I had my domain for my website registered when I was 11 years old. Not to like show off here, but like, if anybody got to see my work, that even the work that I was producing in college, I would like want to disappear in a hole in the floor and die of shame. Okay. But at least I was putting it out there, or for example, with social media, for the longest time I was so hesitant of showing a lot of my work on social media, or I would have shown like a project I did once, I would have published it once, and then I would never ever allow myself to show it again, because I don't know about you guys, but like even work that I did 3 months ago compared to the work that I'm currently working on, I'm like, oh, I could have done that so much better. Like, it's not worth me showing that again, because then people will see it and they think that's the standard I'm at, that's the level of quality I'm at, but I'm actually already much further. I've already progressed even more past that point, let alone like stuff from 3 years ago. So I don't show it. For the longest time, I would literally post something once and then it was like, I can never touch that again. It was also because I was like, if I pull out stuff from my archive, then people will think I have nothing new to show for myself. I was being extremely perfectionistic with how much of my art I present to people, how much I make myself visible. I was being insanely self-critical about that. And I don't know how it may be manifesting for you guys, perfectionism. I'd love to hear some feedback if you guys are in here live, maybe like in the chat. Just take a second and think about, what is the one thing that, well, two things. What is the one area in your own photography business where you think you're the most perfectionistic? And then I want to know, what is the one thing right now, like today, that you are actively keeping yourself from doing or going after, or that email sending or whatever it is that you're not doing because you're being too perfectionistic about it? I really want to know what it is. And I want you guys to like take a minute and think about, what's that one thing that you would have done today if you could just kick perfectionism out of the window. So that being said, about what is perfectionism, now how do we overcome perfectionism? For me, and another thing that I was struggling with as well, that I think falls under the term perfectionism, was that I was becoming extremely jealous of other people that I was observing, whether it's like on social media or in real life, that seemed so carefree with their imperfections. Let's say people that were just going out there, going after the things they wanted, being very, very liberated in just showing different facets of themselves or of their work, and seemingly not caring about the feedback they might be receiving or the impression that they might be making to other people. And I would see those people, and also I would see their success, and I would get really, really jealous. Like, I just have to be honest here. Like, I would watch them and be like, my quality is so much better than that, and yet they have so many more followers than me. Or look at that, like for the longest time we were posting work that was, in my opinion, so much less quality than what I knew I was capable of producing. And yet all of a sudden they're the ones shooting all of the campaigns. And I'm over here like, well, wait a second. Like, it was almost like, how dare they not care so much, you know? And that to me was a good sign that that was definitely like a shadow aspect of myself, where there was like a version of myself that wanted to also just like show my stuff and just be visible with it, and not also not care, like be liberated from catering to other people's perception of me. Sorry, I was searching for the word there. But I had somehow convinced myself that that could never be me, or that that wasn't me, or that I was somehow too, yeah, what was it? It was like, oh, I'm too smart, or like I'm not naive enough to put myself out there like that because I am too self-aware. And it made me jealous of the people that seemed a little bit less concerned with their own self-perception and therefore more free, if that makes sense to you guys. Let me take a quick look in the comments. Katarina says, wasn't sure if I can speak, lol. I'm scared of rejection that I don't, oh, I guess you mean like, you can if you want to, but I'll just read it out loud. I'm scared of rejection that I don't even try. I'm perfectionistic with my emails and still nobody replies. Then I try a different way and I still get no response. So I stopped making connections out of a fear of rejection. But I put myself in front of my perfectionism. 100% get the comparison. Yes, outreach, I totally get that as well. I used to also think, if my emails are only perfect enough, then like if I only get it right, then I'll get a response. And not getting a response to me was an immediate rejection. And I understand how scary a perceived no can feel from the opportunities that seem the most important to us. Some of those like golden ticket goals that are so high up there that going after it almost seems impossible to even start, right? The thing is that if you flip that on its head, so you're in a sense sort of you not writing that email, the towards motivation is you keeping yourself safe, right? The perceived towards motivation there is that if you don't send that email, or maybe you tried once, but then you're like, okay, that second email is certainly not going out, because then it's a definite no, then at least you'll never know if it's actually a no towards you, because if it is, then God forbid it's not a not right now, or just a no thank you, it's a no to you as a person. And I used to be I'm the first person to admit that I used to identify myself with my work so insanely much that like any no towards my work was a no towards me as a person. Like I didn't even have an identity outside of my work and what I was doing as an artist, because like I am what I do, or for a long time I felt like I was. But if you flip that on its head, the away motivation of you doing that down the line, if you think, okay, 1 year from now, 3 years from now, 10 years from now, what will it have cost you to either write that email and actually get rejected? And like I did a whole thing about like outreach and like not getting a response, not immediately being a rejection either, and like how to do that in a sense where you're actually more persistent up to the point where you actually do start getting responses from the people that you're trying to talk to. But what is it costing you to potentially write that email and risk actually getting rejected from some of the people that you're writing emails to, versus you not writing that email in the first place? Because right now, today, you not writing that email might feel safer, but if you blow that up into the proportions of the length of your career or of your prospective career, all of a sudden, the idea of not doing it or of letting your fear stop you seems like a bigger monster to me. Wouldn't you agree? I see a nod there. So sometimes it helps me, honestly, to scare myself into doing it anyways. And I honestly, I do this with a lot of things, even with social media. Like social media is very, very scary to a lot of artists because we have this like immediate feedback loop, and a lot of us are also relying on social media for that like serotonin of like of feeling accepted, or of getting acknowledged, or of getting what's the word I'm searching for, like justified in what we are doing, and we sort of base our action on that feedback loop. Like we get positive feedback, it motivates us to go after it and do more of it. We don't get the feedback that we're looking for, or we're not seeing the numbers that we're looking for, or something isn't even being seen, we immediately feel like, oh, well, it was a failure. It wasn't even just that it went unnoticed. It must be an immediate rejection. So if I tried once and I failed at it, same as with the emails, then I might as well not do it again. And so we're constantly looking for that affirmation in order to take action, rather than saying, okay, I base my confidence to go after things and take risks and expose myself to potential rejection solely on my persistence and on my continued efforts. What if I look at every single day that I do sit down in front of my laptop and I do write an email, or I do work on my website, or I do another photo shoot? What if I solely base my confidence as an artist in those little day-to-day things, rather than the big achievements or the numbers that I'm looking to receive online? Because you are giving away so much of your power by doing that. Because guess what? Like, no matter how successful you get, there's going to be absolute highlight moments in your career. And I have experienced some of those. And there's always going to be those dips in between those highlights. And it's an insane roller coaster ride. And I used to attach all of my motivation and inspiration on those highs, especially once they started picking up and I felt like I was reaching some of those like golden ticket goals within my career. But take it from me that there's always a phase or a period that follows those highs where you feel like, oh my God, I just shot the campaign of my life. And 2 days later, that I like spent 3 months prepping for. And 2 days later, you're sitting in front of your computer again, and it's, guess what? It's time to send those outreach emails again. So I hope that puts it a little bit into perspective for you guys. Let's see. I think the most helpful thing to do is ask yourself, what is it going to cost me to let this influence my decision making, or let this fear or this perfectionism or whatever it is stop me from trying, and blow it out of proportion, so to the extent where that thing becomes scarier than the initial fear. That's at least what works for me, okay? So, like, for example, with social media, I have to literally brainwash myself into being brave enough to be to be consistent on social media. And, you know, I have to literally chuck my brain out the window in order to hit post on a lot of the things. And I try to sort of streamline my process there, where I have everything prepped, where when the time comes where I want to publish something, I literally just have to press post and I don't have to interact with it, because I know I will actively talk myself out of it. But in order to show up consistently to the public eye, whether it's you presenting your work to somebody, you sending an email out to a client, or you posting something on social media, in the moment, the potential of getting rejected seems really not worth it. But then imagine, okay, for the span of your career, and I know a lot of us are so passionate about what we do that, I don't know about you guys, but I don't even think I'll ever retire from what I do now. Like, I'll probably do this until I take my last breath in one way or another. So if I take that time span And I think about what I dream of, for example, in terms of social media, the community I want to build there, the ecosystem of connections that I am trying to establish, where all of a sudden people start coming to me. Like, I do all of my marketing on social media. A lot of the jobs that I got in one way or another were through connections of people that have seen my stuff not once, but multiple times on public platforms and social media. The easy access to a large crowd of people in order to send a message about social movements that I want to advocate for, or to educate people about the importance of representation, or even just to show my art and be told that it's beautiful, okay? All of those things that I want out of it. I see a laugh in this. And yeah, I mean, like, what's so wrong about that? We're freaking visual content creators. Like, our art is meant to be seen and consumed. And also, like, it's nice to get feedback on it every once in a while, okay? All of those things that I want for myself, and like the many years that I'm going to continue to do this, having one day where I feel so scared to post something because I'm convinced that it's not perfect enough really doesn't seem worth not doing it if I imagine myself standing on the end of that line of my career and looking back. Every single day that I let my fear stop myself, I'll regret way more. And get comfortable with the idea of actual failure as well. For me, it was a huge thing to picture other people getting to observe me try and fail. That was my biggest fear of all, was like visibly making mistakes. That was something that didn't align with my identity. I very early on in life learned that if I turn myself into the person everybody around me expects me to be, I am the safest. That's how I was raised, okay? And we don't have to get into like childhood psychology here. But then I hit this point in my adulthood where I was like, I am still operating under that. I am still using that insane fear of failure or of making mistakes in order to make me productive. But that was a pattern that was literally burning me out, and also, you know, making things so much more stressful, and also way less fun than they should be. Like, what's the point of us choosing to do this as freelancers if we can't find joy in it anymore? There are so many hurdles and challenges that come along with us doing this. Like, this is a brave thing to do, and it's a courageous thing to choose for yourself. But why are you choosing it? I'm pretty certain that you're probably choosing it because a little voice inside you says that there's something really great and amazing and beautiful and sparkly and fun within this for you. Like, there is that possibility of that, of you taking something that you absolutely burn for and dedicating your life to it. And then also, you know, being able to pass that on and share it with others and having others benefit from it as well. I applaud you guys so insanely much from it. And it breaks my heart that artists like us are being chewed up and spat out by society, and that we're not being given the right sort of structure within which we can thrive. And we're not giving the education we need in order to feel empowered in being entrepreneurs and in building businesses that actually support us in what we're here to do. Because, not to get sappy, but I believe that without art, societies wither and die. So this is really important. But the question is, how important is it to you? At the end of your life, how important is this? Wow, okay, well, I'm gonna climb down off of my soapbox now. But I hope I got to shake you guys awake a little bit. So what's the one thing that you're currently keeping yourself from doing? Because perfectionism is being a little bit too loud right now. And if it helps, picture yourself at 80, looking back at your career. Is it really going to be that big of a deal that you tried something and maybe failed at it? Look at some of the most successful people. They've probably taken massive risks and experienced what we would perceive as massive failures. And they'll probably look at it and just see, not a mistake, but just another learning opportunity that they got to have. So can you picture that for yourself? And you don't have to do it all within one big leap. Like, we are capable of growing and adapting and adjusting. And with growing success comes growing, experience. You'll grow into it, but you have to allow yourself the wiggle room in order to change and warp and try new things and get yourself that feedback loop that ultimately makes you better. You're brave enough to pick up that camera every single time you do and make mistakes and learn from them and get better. That's why you guys are so talented. It's because you recognize the things that you can still perfect. How amazing is that? So use that in your business as well, in writing those emails. Like, allow yourself to walk through your career a little bit more like your inner child, and allow yourself to be clumsy every once in a while. Because guess what? That's also where it becomes fun again. I don't know why I just started like 3 times, but that's where it becomes fun again. Like, that's why I was so jealous of the people that I was observing, because they were giving themselves permission to something that seemed very liberated. But I was completely detached from being able to view myself, being able to live the same life like they were. But ultimately, I only have one life. So it really is my active decision. So please, 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 please don't actively let that fear stop you from something that can make all the world of a difference in the end. And being consistent with something and persevering also through the doubts, especially through the doubts, is ultimately what gets you to that pot of gold. Do you guys know that, like, analogy of like 2 people think that there's gold somewhere at the bottom in the earth, and they both start digging, and one guy digs down, and then he's like, but I don't know if there's gold. There's nobody that is giving me a guarantee that there's gold. So he stops digging and he goes somewhere else and he starts digging again. And he's like, but I still don't know if there's actual gold. Maybe if I dig over here. And then he starts digging over there. And there's that other person that's like, I don't know if there's gold, but I have faith and I believe. And he starts digging and he's like, still don't know if there's gold, but there's the possibility of gold for me down there. And he just digs and digs and digs and digs, and he doesn't give up. Which one of the 2 people, if you're just thinking probability, is more likely to reach gold? That's literally the only guarantee that you can have for reaching that pot of gold, is if you don't give up. Versus the other guy that let his doubts get the better of him, he's never going to reach that pot of gold. All right. That's all we have time for today. Thank you for listening. I hope I got to inspire you and give you a little bit of courage today on this Friday. I hope you come back maybe next week. I'm going to reprogram some new episodes for you guys. I say episodes, new classes for you guys for Fridays. If you're interested in the Money Master Workshop, that's October 7th and October 8th. It's already on my Eventbrite. It's $175, and it's going to be 2 hours on Saturday and 2 hours on Sunday. I'd love to have you guys there. And if you want some one-on-one time with me, then book some one-on-one coaching. The coaching consultations are for free, so slide in my DMs or send me an email. And if that's not for you right now, then just come back for the Friday classes. And yeah, I'm grateful for you guys to be here. The recordings are always going to be on my YouTube channel, so if you miss a Friday class, but you want to maybe watch it later on your own time, then you can go on there. It'll probably be on there the following week of the Friday, and you can watch it on your own time. Emilia says, thank you. Thank you for being here, Emilia. And thank you for being here, Katarina. I don't know how to say your name without a German accent, but thank you so much for your feedback. And I will see you guys maybe next Friday or maybe in the workshop. I love you guys so much. Mwah. Bye.